let's get into it. I want to break this down, show you piece by piece what I've got, why I've got it, and take you through my video rig setup. Take two. I can't believe I forgot to press record. So, okay, while I was editing this, I noticed it. My beard looked tremendous. For some reason, this was folded up in the side. Look, I'm trying to grow my beard out. I was cleaning up the edges, and I went a bit too shallow on one side. Let's ignore it's happened. Move past it. It's all good. Enjoy. So, welcome guys. Before I get into this video, I just want to say thank you for all the support so far. All the comments, it's been really encouraging. As I'm sure any of you know, starting a YouTube channel, especially one that you're talking to the camera, is really awkward. I hate talking to the camera. I always pull funny faces. I look weird. I say lots of ums and ahs. Apologies. I will promise to try my best to get better at that. But for now, I want to show you my new video rig. So, this is my new Canon R6 Mark II, which you saw me unbox in my last video. I said I was going to get a bunch of gear. I already had. I've bought a few more pieces. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to return, but I wanted to take you through my final setup, something I'm really proud of, something that's going to last me. I've really invested a lot of time, money and effort into getting this set up exactly how I want it, so it will serve me for the next 2-3 seasons of wedding photography. For those of you who don't know, I'm a wedding photographer here in the Cotswolds. I am doing the YouTube channel, one, to help me learn more about audio, learn more about video and the editing process, but I have recently added, after taking Taylor Jackson's course, a highlight video film option to my wedding photography packages. And in the last 2 months since I've done that, I've done 2 weddings with video, and I've booked 4 more weddings on the back of those. So if anyone's considering doing so, highly recommend it. It's really helping me. The purpose of this is to be a main tripod camera for ceremonies and speeches. I can take 10-second clips off my R6 Mark Is, but the Mark II has unlimited record time, and that's kind of the main reason why I got the Mark II, if that was unclear to anyone else. That and the fact I booked 3 weddings very, very close to each other and suddenly had a bunch of money, and I thought, why not indulge? So, let's get into it. I want to break this down, show you piece by piece what I've got, why I've got it, and take you through my video rig setup. So at the moment I've got the 70-200 on there, just to show you what this looks like. I had it on there when I was filming the last video. I've left it on. I forgot to press record on the audio or connect the microphone correctly. Again, as I said, I'm still learning. So I was going to take the 70-200 off because it's a beast. It weighs a lot. I don't really want that in the way. So I will stick the 17-40 EF on there for now. That helps it be a lot lighter. And I think in the main, when I'm running and gunning this, hand holding it, this is probably the lens I'm going to use to give me the variability on the dance floor, get those wide shots. But I've also got my 85 1.4 Samyang, which looks gorgeous on this body. And I've got my 51.2, which I'm going to use for more artistic style, more for the details of the wedding, to get the storytelling feel of the wedding video going. So yeah, this is my rig. I'm super, super proud of it. Very new into all of this. But what I have here is the Canon R6 Mark II in a small rig cage with a top handle, which is a Hawk Lock top handle, which is then connected to a Hawk Lock monitor adapter, connected to my Shinobi 2 monitor. And there is a reason why I got this. Touch to focus, very helpful. I then have my Video Mic NTG. I've got a bunch of little accessories that help me with cable management, and I've got a V-mount plate with the V-mount battery from Small Rig on here as well as a hand grip for better stability when I'm running and gunning this thing. It is actually, while it looks quite bulky, it's relatively lightweight. I'd say it's probably in the £7 range, which for me is manageable for on and off. I wouldn't want to carry this all day long. But as I said, it's primarily to be on a tripod, and I love it. So if I power all of this off, what I'll do is show you each of the individual pieces I've got. I've got cables here that keep everything attached. I have a battery clip which goes to the V-mount. And I'll just take this all apart so you can see how it all assembles. I've cleared up some space to be able to show you what I've got here. So the camera mainly evolves around the small rig cage. This is for the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. Product ID is 4159 if you're interested. The reason I chose this one over some of the others is this one actually has 3 mounting points. 3. So where you would normally put the harness attachments, there are 2 screws and pins that go into here which lock it in place, and there's also a 1/4 inch screw that goes into the bottom. The reason I chose that is it stops it twisting. If I want to mount this on the tripod, I know I'm pointing straight, it's not going to twist on me with the weight, or if I knock it, it's going to be stable. It's the better thing to go for. It's a bit more expensive, but as I said, I'm investing in the gear this year, and this was the best cage I could find for the camera. It also allowed me to lock into an ecosystem of small rig. Everything's purchased by myself. As you know, my channel is very small, very new. Nothing is sponsored. My honest opinions will be given. I did buy a hell of a lot of items. I've got 10 parcels over there which I'm waiting to return. I bought everything to work out the best video rig for me, and I'm still probably going to change a few things, primarily the handle that I have on here. I've recently seen that they do one with a trigger, which they advertise for Panasonic, but it uses the same microphone adapter, so I'm hoping that's going to work. I'm going to order it on Amazon, test it, try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll return it. Yeah, so that all focuses around the camera cage. I then have some small rig cable management adapters, which are called camera cable clamps. Very, very useful. I also have a small rig data cable, which is a D to A cable. So it takes the micro HDMI cable from the Canon output and gives me a full HDMI input, which allows me to use a small HDMI to HDMI. I've got a right angle on here because that works well with my monitor. You may need to consider what monitor you're going to go with before you decide on which cable to go with. I also have a cable clamp because on the side of here I have a number of cables sticking out that I don't want to dislodge, break, bend or damage. So that's there. The only negative with having that there is it stops me from being able to articulate my screen because there is a stop there. But I am able to flip the screen out. If I need to access the settings, I can pull it out at 90, twist it and shut it this way so I can still use the screen. Now while I'm going to be using this with a monitor, I will be having that shut. I will never use that screen while I have a monitor attached. So that's the cage. I then have the small rig V-mount battery plate. This thing is genius. When I was looking around at different V-mount batteries, I was seeing all these different plates that you would have to put through the pins and have like all this big rig, and it just became really cumbersome, and I thought, do I really want to get into creating a video rig? And I watched a few videos, found some ideas, and this thing was ingenious. I then researched it a lot more and realized it's perfect for what I'm looking for. The camera cage actually has an Arca Swiss attachment plate built into it, which is perfect if I want to stick it on my gimbal. It's also perfect for this battery plate because I can slide this straight into the camera, and this allows me to have my camera here and I can pull this backward and forward. I can also fold this perfectly flat so I can get access to it when I've got the battery attached, or I can fold it flat, chuck it in a bag and it's out of the way. So let's pop that on. So the only thing getting in the way was the HDMI cable that I've got there, but I'm planning on keeping the cage on here and keeping the V-mount plate here, so I'm not worried about that. And then all I do there is I tighten up this little notch here once I feel it's centered. And then there is another clamp here, which allows you to pull this backwards and forwards. So I will have that as close to the VF electronic viewfinder as possible, and then the V-mount battery clips in there, and that is a very stable, very solid rig once you tighten up all the little nuts and bolts. So that is now fully tightened. That's not going anywhere. I feel very comfortable, very safe holding this out with one hand. Very little shaking, very little movement. Really good gear. The reason I went with the small rig V-mount battery is I did a lot of research on that as well. This actually allows me to have a D-tap, 2 USB-Cs and a USB-A output. It also has some DC outputs as well if I was to use a dummy battery to a DC output. Luckily for me, I've got USB-C one, so that works perfect for me. But yeah, the power of this, I've tested it, I ran it for 2 hours straight. It didn't turn off, didn't die. It went to it went down to 79% after 2 hours, so that's incredible. So that will go on there. Now, I could have stopped here and could have accepted that I'll have a screen on the outside, or I just won't see the screen when I'm recording. But I really wanted to have a monitor, but I did not want to have the monitor in the hot shoe plate. It was really important to me that this smart hot shoe was not damaged. I didn't want to stick any of the hot shoe plates in there. I have this other handheld cable, top handle that I use for my Canon R6 Mark I with just the camera and a single lens without any extra weight. No additional battery or anything, just the camera as it is, and that's fine, I feel, in regards to that. But I didn't want to stick this into a smart hot shoe, so I went for this, which is the small rig Hawk Lock H21 quick release top handle kit. And then what this allows me to do is it comes with this plate right here that allows the Hawk Lock to slide onto. It locks into position, and that is as easy as that. There's no fiddling, there's no twisting, there's no screws. The plate is on top, and it is easy as that for me to take on and off with no hassle. So you simply line it up, press the button, click it in, and we're in. There are a number of different lines for the pins to connect with. So if I need to balance the camera, I can move the handle left or right slightly to help with the balancing. I'm very, very happy with that. I can also put this in the other orientation if I want to have the monitor further out and hold it in a different way. And then I've got the Hawk Lock monitor adapter, which also allows me to slide this in to the Hawk Lock plate on the front of this handle. So very quickly, I have everything attached that I need to, which, considering this is going to go in a camera bag, it's probably going to stay with the plate on there, and the cage and the handle, but I can take this off as and when I need to stow it, to put it into a camera bag, no problems. I then have the Video Mic NTG, which is a beautiful mic. I did a lot of research before I went ahead and got one of these. That will go on the top handle. Now this will be for scratch audio or for background audio if I want to mix some of the music into it during the first dances. As I said, I'm just offering highlight films. I'm not doing big wedding film edits right now. This is very much an add-on to my photography package, so I didn't want to take anything away from my photography. That's still a focus for me, but this will work really well on a tripod. I then have all of the cables that I wrap around the back of the handle. I found a really neat way to tuck these in. So the microphone actually has these grooves to help with cable management, so that's not going to come loose, it's not going to shake loose. But if I pull it, it's not going to snap, which is really good. I also have, the reason I went for the Shinobi monitor version 2 is because it is the first one, once you do the firmware update, that works with the Canon R6 Mark II for touch to focus. So if I'm doing video, I have no need to touch the back of the screen. I can access all the buttons, I can see the reactions on the screen here, but if I want to focus on a certain point of view, I just tap on the screen, it pulls up the box, I select my focus type, and it's ready to go. So that goes in there. I then connect my HDMI to my small rig HDMI adapter. This then goes into the top of the monitor. And there I have my monitor all connected to my camera. But now I need to supply power to my camera. For that, I'm using a dummy battery, which has a USB-C connection. So that goes in there. We stick that around. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Canon R6 and all Canon cameras, actually, as far as I know, they have a dummy battery access plate, so you don't need to leave the battery door open. They will slide through just like that right here. I'll see if I can zoom in for you to see that. And you can close the battery door. I wrap this around the back of the cable, up and through the top of the lens, around the back of the arm, and then I stick it through my cable clamp here, so that that's not going to fling around on me. That's really good. I also have this USB-C right angle adapter, which allows me to stick that in and plug that into the V-mount battery. And the benefit of that means the cable goes out rather than up, which means it doesn't get in the way of my handle. I can use that quite freely, and cables are all out of the way. The next battery we need to connect is the power to the monitor. Now, instead of going for adding more weight to the monitor, one of the reasons I went for the V-mount battery with the small rig is it has multiple power outputs. And for this I've got a D-tap to some input type. What is it? It is a DC connector. So I have that connected to a Atom X battery eliminator plate. That goes into the back of the Atomos. I believe these things work across all the different monitors, but what I didn't want to do is add more weight to the front, unbalance everything, and have to find a way to manage that as well. And it's also one less battery to worry about. I think in time I will probably get a second V-mount battery to make sure I've got redundancy. But the benefit of this is I am able to charge this with USB-C directly into the top. So when I'm not using the camera, I can top it up while I'm eating, taking a break, focusing on photos, and I know this will be juiced up. As I said, I ran this for 2 hours straight, which is more than I would do at any wedding, and it only went to 79%, so super happy. The camera didn't overheat, so there's no overheating issues with the R6 Mark II if anyone's worried about that. And now that's all connected, I simply turn on the camera, press one button on the monitor, and everything is connected. It just looks beautiful. I'm so happy with this. And I'm holding this out with one arm with very little strain. So I'm a big guy, so maybe 7.5 pounds isn't a tremendous amount. But for me, this is just right to handhold, to hold stably. The IBIS in these cameras are amazing. If you don't have a lens that has IBIS, you'll be fine. The other reason I went for the Video Mic NTG is when you turn off the camera, it also actually turns off the microphone. So you're not wasting the battery. That will hold charge, they say, for about 30 hours. Now, obviously, it's a built-in battery, so you have to be aware of that. At some point, you're going to have to replace it because lithium batteries just die at some point. But knowing that that will last for at least 30 hours, and knowing I've got the USB-C port here to charge, if I need to top it up, it's just a case of plugging in the USB-C cable into there, and I'm golden. I also have access to my headphone monitoring point here, but there is also, because I'm passing all the audio and all the information through to this screen, to the monitor, there's also a headphone jack at the top here. So I have some headphones, I can monitor the audio, make sure everything sounds good, monitor my levels. So very happy with how that's coming along. So yeah, any questions, please leave them in the comments, let me know. If there's something I missed, by all means give me a shout. If there's something you think maybe I went a bit too overboard and there's a better option, a cheaper option, I've got 10 days left to return any of these, so please let me know. I also ordered a windsock for the Video Mic Go. So this allows me to slip that off. I can pop it on. It's a bit of a firm fit, but I think that's by design. But you can put the windsock on there. If I'm using this at an outdoor ceremony, I'm confident in the Rode audio. that's going to be perfect. I can also slide this forward and backwards, so if I'm using a wide lens like I am now, that's not going to be in the shot. And so yeah, this is my video setup, guys. What do you think? Love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to subscribe, leave a message if you want to find out any more. If you want to ask me any questions, by all means. Cheers. Have a good one.